It is not easy to fill Tony Stark's shoes in the MCU. However, the up-and-coming Ironheart character may be the one to take his place in some shape or form. The one that will link with several other characters of the MCU right away. If the series has at least half of the things that depict her in the Marvel Comics, Riri Williams is coming, and the 15-year-old genius can bring a lot to the table, especially if the champions are coming to the big screen. Starting with the project being put in the works as a movie, today we came to learn that we're going to get yet another Disney Plus series from Marvel Studios in the likes of Ironheart. It was on Investor Day in 2020 that we came to learn that the Iron Man replacement will be coming to us sooner than expected, a project that will take part in Phase 4 of the MCU, a series that will tell a story about Riri Williams, a black teenage superhero who has close links to Tony Stark. And because of these close connections between the two, and the clever narrative twist, Tony Stark can also theoretically make a special appearance in the series as part of a flashback, part of Riri's origin story, or even in a holographic shape or form. Created by Brian Michael Bendis, Riri is one of the newest characters in Marvel Comics, having only debuted 6 years ago in 2016, in the comic titled Invincible Iron Man Volume 2, Issue 7. There's a lot to talk about Riri, as she has a plethora of skills and agency when the Ironheart character is taken into consideration, but more on that later down the line. However, the thing that we'll say right now is that the Ironheart series will not be entirely faithful to Marvel Comics, much like the other projects in the MCU, with all of them having those few little details taken out of the way, and in Riri's case, it'll be the fact that Iron Man is dead in the MCU. One huge change when the stories between the MCU and the Marvel Comics are compared. However, in this narrative, we can certainly say that we should be excited, as there are new ways that we might get to see a Tony Stark AI subplot featuring the one and only Robert Downey Jr. in the role once again. Much like many of the other projects from Marvel Studios, whether we're talking about upcoming movies or TV series, the Ironheart Disney Plus series has no release date set as of yet. However, we should not expect the series to drop until 2023. Firstly, because Riri Williams has yet to debut in one of the two series coming to Disney Plus, Secret Invasion or Armor Wars, with the latter being our go-to pick out of the two, and then for her to star in the lead role as the titular character of her own TV show. And secondly, seeing how jam-packed Marvel's schedule is for the remaining months of 2022, it'd be a safe bet to say that 2023 will be the year in which we're going to see Riri Williams taking on the Iron Man mantle to some extent. There was also another theory about the character and her debut before the series drops, and it was all about Riri Williams making a cameo appearance in the upcoming Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie. As for how she'll factor into everything, it's still too early to say, as there are no clear clues about it. However, one thing we can say with certainty is the fact that she's going to play a major role in the MCU moving forward. We have talked a lot about Riri Williams, but who is actually going to fill in the role of the young and uprising character? Well, it would only be fitting for the actor playing Riri Williams to be on her rise as well, right? It came as a surprise from Marvel Studios president himself, Kevin Feige, who announced the actor cast for the role way earlier than expected, with the slot being filled by If Beale Streets Could Talk star Dominique Thorne, and the follow-up movie from Barry Jenkins' Moonlight, which were the two projects and brought Thorne closer to the public's eye, despite her being part of many other projects in her career. Unfortunately, nothing else is known from the cast side of things regarding the series, but we're bound to know more and more casting being added to the project as time goes by. Little is known about the story side of things regarding the Ironheart series, but there is, however, one line that she's going to create the most advanced suit of armor since Iron Man himself, which could point out that she has an even more advanced technology than what Stark managed to get his hands on. Or this could also point out that she will actually be the one to put a suit of armor around the world, a wish and idea Tony never managed to make a reality, as his experiment, called Ultron, misfired. Based on the storyline of the comics, Riri will probably have her own lab at MIT, a place where she will probably develop her own AI named Natalie, a reference to her late best friend named Natalie. While we're at the Marvel Comics side of things, Riri has a very close connection to Shang-Chi, as she is the first target of the organization, the Ten Rings, so maybe she will have a bigger role in the upcoming Shang-Chi sequel that has already been confirmed. A fact we know after the post-credit scene of the first movie, showcasing that his and Katie's story is far from over, as they have yet to enter the bigger picture of the MCU. The peculiar thing, as we said before, is that Riri Williams comes to the MCU in the wake of Iron Man's death at the end of the Infinity Saga. Thus, the learning Riri managed to do with Tony Stark in the comics goes out the window, both the technology side of things and just what exactly it means to be a hero. Despite this, it seems like it is impossible that she will not be affected by him in some shape or form. The chances are that she was one of many talented young people Stark sponsored, much like Peter Parker in his own rights, who, as we can see right now, is not the only one who was mentored by Tony himself. This way, the misconception of Riri Williams stealing the role of Iron Man is also out of the picture, and Williams can start to make a name for herself right off the bat, while also respecting the good he did and taking a name similar to his, hence the superhero name she chose in the likes of Ironheart. If this theory of her being yet another mentee from Tony Stark's agency of young and uprising people who would one day change the world, she will likely form an immediate special bond with the other candidate we're already well aware of right now, Peter Parker's Spider-Man, with two of them being taught by Tony. The shared grief and love for the hero would be the powerful way the two can relate, as well as Riri being the one to break the cycle of Peter being stuck with one mentor during his stay in the MCU so far. The next generation of the MCU will see both Peter and Riri facing things headstrong, solidifying their idea of legacy, an element the MCU thrives on, as despite Iron Man's death, his hope for humanity is able to live on in these two heroes he left a mark on. As it stands right now, Ironheart's future in the MCU is bright and broad, as she will have a lot to prove in order to take Iron Man's place in the MCU, as being one of the closest resemblances to Tony Stark himself. And the best way to start would probably be the upcoming rumored Civil War II, with her on the side with the Champions, yet another organization that seems to be slowly creeping in to become the next big thing, together with the Young Avengers. On a related note, tell us down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the character? Where would you like to see the character make her debut if our theory is not correct, and why? But also, what do you think the character brings to the table, and where do you see her fit in the most? Maybe the Young Avengers, with her being the new tech girl in the squad. Feel free to share your thoughts on everything, but also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.